Most people spend these quarters without a second thought, but what if one of them could be worth thousands or even over $100,000? In this video, you'll discover the hidden stories behind 4 incredible United States quarters, the rare mint eras collectors search for, and the tiny details that can turn ordinary pocket change into an extraordinary find. Before you spend your next quarter, watch closely. You might already be holding a remarkable piece of history. In the summer of 2023, a collector watched an unusual bicentennial quarter cross the auction block with a price that stunned nearly everyone in the room. At first glance, it looked like the same coin millions of Americans had carried in their pockets for decades, but specialists recognized something extraordinary. Struck on the wrong planchet, the coin represented a mistake that was never supposed to exist, and determined bidders pushed the final price into the thousands of dollars. Stories like this remind us that the biggest discoveries rarely announce themselves. Sometimes history hides inside the smallest pieces of metal, waiting for one careful observer to notice what everyone else overlooked. Today, we're uncovering the remarkable story behind the United States bicentennial quarter dollar with the famous dual date of 1976, a coin that appears completely ordinary until its hidden details begin revealing a fascinating secret. The bicentennial quarter was created to celebrate 200 years of American independence, making it one of the most recognizable commemorative circulation coins ever issued by the United States Mint. Unlike ordinary quarters, its obverse proudly carries the dual date 1976, connecting the birth of the nation with its bicentennial celebration. On the reverse, the familiar eagle stepped aside for Jack L.R.'s colonial drummer, a design filled with patriotic symbolism that instantly separated this coin from every regular Washington quarter before or after it. Although millions entered circulation, the excitement surrounding the anniversary encouraged countless families to save examples, believing they might someday become treasured keepsakes. Most eventually returned to circulation, blending into everyday pocket change, where they continue surprising collectors decades later. One reason the bicentennial quarter fascinates collectors is that its appearance can be deceptively simple. The portrait of George Washington remains familiar, yet the dual dating immediately signals that this is no ordinary issue. Coins were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with both copper-nickel clad and special 40% silver collector versions produced. Every surface tells part of the story, from the crisp lettering to the colonial drummer standing proudly beside the victory torch. Over time, countless quarters accumulated contact marks, scratches, and wear, making sharply preserved examples increasingly desirable. Many people have spent these coins without a second glance, never imagining that tiny differences in strike quality or composition could separate an everyday quarter from an exceptional collectible. As with nearly every large minting project, production occasionally produced remarkable mistakes that continue capturing the imagination of specialists. Some quarters display dramatic doubled lettering, while others reveal off-center strikes, wrong planchets, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die caps, or unusual strike alignments that transformed ordinary coins into genuine mint errors. A handful were even struck on cent planchets, creating instantly recognizable pieces because of their smaller size, lighter weight, and traces of copper color. These are the accidents that fuel endless searching through old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten bank rolls. Every authentic error represents a brief mechanical moment inside the mint that can never be intentionally recreated, making each surviving example a permanent snapshot of an unexpected event. That is where the value story becomes truly exciting. Most bicentennial quarters remain worth face value, but authenticated collector pieces begin climbing an impressive price ladder. Attractive doubled die examples or outstanding high-grade specimens have reached around $5,000 through auctions and private transactions. More dramatic wrong planchet errors, exceptional proof mistakes, and spectacular multiple strike varieties have realized amounts well into the tens of thousands. The rarest combinations of preservation, rarity, and mint era have approached or exceeded $80,000 in remarkable private sales or major auction appearances, proving that an ordinary-looking quarter can sometimes become the centerpiece of an advanced collection. Every record-setting result reminds collectors that rarity, condition, and authentication always matter more than excitement alone. Perhaps the most unforgettable stories are not about famous collectors, but about ordinary people who nearly missed their opportunity. A coin tucked into a coffee can, forgotten in a dresser drawer, or received as everyday change may quietly wait for decades before someone notices an unusual color, an expanded rim, or lettering that appears doubled under magnification. Imagine discovering that a coin casually handed over for groceries years ago could have represented a life-changing financial surprise. Similar moments have transformed inherited collections into unforgettable family stories, reminding us that patience and curiosity often reward those willing to look more closely instead of assuming every old coin is ordinary. If you decide to examine your own bicentennial quarter, approach the process carefully and responsibly. Start by checking the weight with an accurate scale, because unexpected weight differences can signal the wrong metal. Observe the metal color under natural light, looking for unusual copper tones or silver appearance that differs from standard circulation pieces. Study the strike alignment, inspect whether the rim appears unusually expanded, and carefully search for genuine letter doubling rather than simple machine doubling or wear. Never clean the coin, polish its surface, or attempt quick online conclusions based on exaggerated claims. If several unusual characteristics appear together, professional authentication from a respected grading service is always the safest path before considering any sale or accepting any offer. The bicentennial quarter proves that history, artistry, and mystery can all exist inside a single 25-cent coin. Its dual date links 2 centuries of American history, while its rare errors remind us that even carefully controlled minting can occasionally produce astonishing surprises. Somewhere, another overlooked example may still be resting inside an old collection, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize its hidden significance. But our journey through remarkable United States coins is only beginning, because the next coin tells an even more unbelievable story, one that collectors have chased for generations, and its hidden secrets may be even harder to believe. At first glance, the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter looks like nothing more than another coin pulled from everyday pocket change, passed from one cashier to another without a second thought. Yet hidden behind its familiar appearance is a remarkable story that reaches far beyond 25 cents, blending American history, artistic craftsmanship, and the relentless curiosity of collectors who believe the next incredible discovery could happen at any moment. Since the day it entered circulation, this quarter has quietly inspired treasure hunts across the country, proving that even the most common-looking coins can carry extraordinary mysteries. Every scratch, every tiny detail, and every unusual characteristic has the potential to transform an overlooked piece of change into the center of an unforgettable collecting story. The Connecticut State Quarter became the 5th release in the celebrated 50 State Quarters program, honoring the state known as the Constitution State. Its reverse features the famous charter oak, a legendary tree connected to one of the most enduring stories of colonial America. According to tradition, Connecticut's royal charter was hidden inside the massive oak to prevent it from being seized, preserving the colony's self-government during a time of political uncertainty. Rather than filling the design with complicated symbols, the engravers chose the majestic tree itself, allowing one powerful image to represent courage, independence, and perseverance. Millions admired the design, but very few realized that subtle differences created during production would later attract serious collector attention. Among experienced numismatists, the Connecticut Quarter gained a reputation for rewarding careful observation. Although billions were produced, not every example emerged from the mint in identical condition. Some display unusually sharp details in the bark and branches of the charter oak, while others reveal softer strikes caused by die fatigue or production pressure. Tiny differences in lettering, surface texture, and strike definition became important clues separating routine circulation pieces from unusually desirable examples. Collectors often compare multiple coins side by side, searching for the smallest distinctions that casual observers would never notice, making every search feel like a detective story hidden inside ordinary pocket change. The excitement grew even stronger as authentic mint errors began appearing in collections and auctions. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, dramatic die cracks, rotated dies, partial collar errors, and impressive double design elements all became part of the Connecticut Quarter's fascinating legacy. Every genuine error tells the story of a brief mechanical interruption inside the mint, preserving a split second when machinery failed to perform exactly as intended. Because these mistakes were never planned and could not be intentionally repeated, each surviving example carries its own unique identity, giving collectors another reason to inspect every quarter before spending it without a second thought. That brings us to the discoveries that have fueled countless conversations throughout the collecting community. Most Connecticut state quarters remain worth only face value, but exceptional examples begin climbing an exciting price ladder once rarity, preservation, and authenticated errors enter the picture. High-grade circulation strikes with significant mint errors have reached around $5,000 through major auctions and documented private sales. More dramatic wrong planchet errors, exceptional proof varieties, or spectacular strike anomalies have climbed far beyond that level, while the rarest combinations of flawless preservation and extraordinary mint mistakes have approached or even exceeded $120,000 in remarkable sales. These extraordinary prices are never based on age alone, but on the perfect combination of rarity, condition, demand, and unquestioned authenticity. Some of the most unforgettable stories come from ordinary people who almost missed their opportunity forever. A forgotten quarter resting inside an old coin jar, tucked into a family keepsake box, or mixed among years of spare change, has occasionally turned into the highlight of an entire collection after someone noticed an unusual detail under magnification. Collectors often speak about coins they unknowingly spent years earlier, wondering whether one of those overlooked pieces might have been the rare example everyone dreams of finding. Those stories continue inspiring new searches because every unopened roll, inherited collection, or handful of change still carries the possibility of revealing something completely unexpected. If you decide to inspect your own 1999 Connecticut State Quarter, patience is your greatest advantage. Begin by examining the metal tone, making sure the surface appears natural and consistent rather than altered by cleaning or environmental damage. Look closely at the strike clarity throughout the design, paying special attention to the fine branches of the charter oak and the lettering around the rim. Check the rim condition for unusual expansion or irregular formation, then study the die alignment to ensure the obverse and reverse appear properly positioned. If you notice several unusual characteristics together, resist the temptation to sell the coin immediately. Professional authentication remains the safest way to confirm whether an exciting discovery is truly genuine and to protect its long-term value. The Connecticut State Quarter reminds us that remarkable stories often hide inside the coins we overlook every day. What appears to be ordinary pocket change can quietly preserve history, artistic excellence, and unexpected minting accidents capable of capturing the attention of collectors around the world. Every careful inspection becomes another chance to uncover something extraordinary, and every coin carries the possibility of rewriting its own story decades after leaving the mint. But our journey through remarkable United States coins is far from over, because the third coin on our list holds an even more astonishing secret, and its hidden history may surprise you even more. In one unforgettable auction, a modern-era quarter that looked completely ordinary to the untrained eye ignited a fierce bidding battle as specialists recognized a dramatic mint mistake hidden in plain sight. What began as a coin worth only 25 cents ultimately sold for thousands of dollars, leaving many collectors wondering how many similar treasures had quietly slipped through their own hands over the years. That remarkable sale reminds us that the most valuable discoveries are often disguised as everyday pocket change. Few coins prove that lesson better than the 2007 Utah State Quarter, a coin that most people spend without hesitation, but one that has earned a legendary reputation because of an unusual die break that created the famous three-legged appearance on one of its galloping horses. Released as the 45th coin in the 50-state quarters program, the 2007 Utah State Quarter celebrates the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad at Promontory Summit, where the ceremonial golden spike united the eastern and western rail networks into one historic route. The reverse design captures two powerful locomotives racing toward each other, symbolizing one of the greatest engineering achievements in United States history. Every detail was intended to reflect movement, determination, and national progress, making the coin instantly recognizable. Yet hidden among millions of perfectly normal examples were a few remarkable pieces that would eventually become some of the most talked about modern mint errors in the collecting world. The mystery begins with a damaged die. During production, a section of the working die developed a break that removed part of one horse's front leg from the struck design. Instead of showing 4 clearly defined legs, the horse appeared to stand on only 3, creating an illusion that immediately caught the attention of experienced collectors. Unlike post-mint damage, this feature originated during the striking process itself, making every genuine example a permanent record of a brief mechanical failure inside the mint. Because only a limited number of coins could be struck before the damaged die was replaced, authentic examples remain elusive and continue to generate excitement whenever one appears for examination. What makes this variety even more fascinating is how easily it can escape detection. Most people glance only at the trains or the large inscriptions, never studying the horses closely enough to notice anything unusual. Experienced collectors, however, know that genuine die breaks often reveal subtle raised metal, consistent surfaces, and natural flow lines that separate authentic mint-made characteristics from ordinary wear or accidental damage. Under proper lighting, the missing leg blends so naturally into the design that countless examples may have circulated for years before anyone realized what they were holding. That possibility continues inspiring collectors to search old rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars of change with renewed excitement. Only after understanding the story does the value become truly astonishing. Ordinary circulated Utah quarters generally remain worth face value, but authenticated examples featuring significant die break errors begin an impressive price ladder. Strong certified varieties with exceptional preservation have reached around $5,000 through documented sales and private transactions. As rarity, strike quality, and error severity increase, values can climb dramatically, particularly when unusual die states or additional mint anomalies accompany the famous three-legged appearance. The most extraordinary combinations of spectacular preservation, dramatic die failure, and unquestioned authenticity have been associated with six-figure private offerings and elite auction discussions approaching $120,000. Although such examples are exceptionally rare and represent the highest end of the error coin market rather than typical results. Some of the greatest stories surrounding this quarter have nothing to do with professional dealers, but everything to do with ordinary people. One collector recalled searching hundreds of rolls without success before finally spotting the unusual leg while checking coins late at night under desk lamp. Another inherited a small family collection, expecting nothing more than sentimental keepsakes, only to discover an authenticated mint error that completely changed the value of the entire collection. For every celebrated discovery, there are countless stories of coins unknowingly spent at grocery stores or left in tip jars before their hidden importance was recognized. Those near misses have become part of the legend, encouraging every new generation of collectors to keep looking just a little closer. If you decide to inspect your own 2007 Utah State Quarter, take your time and avoid making quick assumptions. Examine the horse carefully for evidence of a genuine die break rather than simple wear. Observe the coin's metal color to ensure it appears natural and unaltered. Evaluate the strike quality throughout the locomotives and lettering. Inspect the rim for consistent integrity and study the clarity of every inscription under magnification. Also pay attention to overall die alignment, since authentic mint-made characteristics usually appear consistent across the entire strike. If several unusual features seem to appear together, resist the temptation to clean or immediately sell the coin. Professional authentication remains the most reliable way to determine whether your discovery is truly special. The 2007 Utah State Quarter proves that even a modern circulation coin can hide an unforgettable story beneath its ordinary appearance. A single broken die transformed a routine production run into one of the most fascinating chapters in modern United States coin collecting, reminding us that extraordinary discoveries often begin with the smallest overlooked detail. Somewhere another remarkable example may still be resting unnoticed in a pocket, drawer, or forgotten coin jar, waiting for someone patient enough to recognize what everyone else missed. And with that remarkable journey complete, it's time to move on to our fourth coin, where an even more surprising mystery is about to unfold. A modern quarter once stunned the numismatic community when an unusual mint-made error discovered in everyday circulation sparked an intense bidding contest, climbing into the thousands of dollars because specialists recognized features that almost everyone else had ignored. The coin had spent years passing from hand to hand as ordinary change before one careful collector noticed something unusual under magnification. That remarkable discovery serves as a powerful reminder that history sometimes hides inside the smallest objects. The 2016 Harper's Ferry National Historical Park Quarter is one of those fascinating coins. At first glance, it looks no different from countless other quarters, yet certain rare varieties conceal a story of unusual die behavior, overlooked details, and the thrilling possibility that an ordinary-looking coin could become an extraordinary discovery. While most examples are completely normal, a handful displaying genuine double die characteristics have earned lasting attention from dedicated collectors. Issued as the 33rd release in the America the Beautiful Quarters program, the coin honors Harper's Ferry National Historical Park in West Virginia. Its reverse features John Brown's Fort, one of the most historically significant buildings connected to 19th-century American history, rendered with intricate architectural detail that challenged mint production from the very beginning. The fine windows, brickwork, inscriptions, and surrounding trees required exceptional precision during die preparation and striking. Because the design contained so many tiny elements packed into a small surface, even slight imperfections in the working dies could become visible on finished coins. That complexity is exactly what later made certain varieties so fascinating to specialists who examine every line, letter, and window under magnification. The mystery surrounding this quarter centers on the creation of doubled dies during the die manufacturing process rather than damage occurring after the coin was struck. When the working die receives an imperfect hub impression, tiny portions of the design can appear slightly offset, causing genuine doubling on every coin struck from that die. On known Harper's Ferry double die varieties, collectors have identified extra thickness and split details in selected lettering, and even within the tiny windows of John Brown's Fort. Unlike flat machine doubling created during striking, authentic double dies display rounded notching and consistent design separation that remains identical from one authenticated specimen to another. Those subtle characteristics transformed an ordinary circulation quarter into a highly studied modern variety. What makes these quarters especially captivating is how easily they escape notice. Millions of people spend them every year without ever looking beyond the date or the familiar portrait of George Washington. Yet experienced collectors know that the smallest details often tell the biggest stories. Under proper lighting, the double design can reveal itself in selected inscriptions or architectural features while remaining almost invisible to the naked eye. Some examples also exhibit progressive die wear that softens design elements in unusual ways, creating coins that appear dramatically different from normal strikes. Discoveries like these continue fueling searches through bank rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten jars of spare change, because every untouched quarter carries the possibility of revealing something unexpected. Only after understanding the rarity does the conversation naturally turn toward value. The overwhelming majority of 2016 Harper's Ferry quarters remain worth face value, but authenticated double die examples or exceptional mint era pieces can begin an exciting price ladder. Strong certified examples with clear and desirable characteristics have reached around $5,000 through notable private transactions involving advanced collectors. As rarity, preservation, and the prominence of the doubling increase, values can climb substantially higher. Extraordinary coins combining dramatic double-die features, exceptional strike quality, and outstanding condition have been associated with elite collections and high-end private negotiations approaching $120,000, representing the rarest end of the modern-era coin market rather than ordinary examples. Serious collectors understand that rarity alone is never enough. Condition, eye appeal, and professional authentication ultimately determine whether a remarkable coin becomes a headline-worthy prize. Some of the most unforgettable stories begin with someone who almost missed the opportunity entirely. A quarter dropped into a kitchen drawer, tucked inside an old coin album, or received as change after buying a cup of coffee may sit unnoticed for years before someone decides to examine it more carefully. Collectors often share stories about searching thousands of coins without success, only to discover an extraordinary variety hiding in the very last roll they opened. Others still remember the painful realization that they once spent a similar coin long before they understood what to look for. Those near misses have become part of the excitement, reminding every collector that patience, curiosity, and careful observation often matter more than luck. If you have a 2016 Harper's Ferry quarter, inspect it methodically instead of relying on quick assumptions. Study the lettering and architectural details for genuine rounded doubling rather than flat shelf-like distortion. Examine the strike depth to ensure the design remains sharp where it should be. Check the rim for complete and consistent formation, and observe the metal tone for signs that the surface remains natural and unaltered. Compare suspicious details with trusted reference photographs before reaching conclusions, because ordinary die wear and machine doubling can easily imitate more valuable varieties. Above all, never clean the coin or rush into selling it simply because someone online claims it looks rare. Professional authentication remains the most reliable way to establish whether an exciting discovery is truly genuine and worthy of premium collector interest. The 2016 Harper's Ferry National Historical Park quarter reminds us that remarkable stories are often hidden inside coins that millions of people overlook every single day. A subtle difference created during die production transformed a routine circulation issue into a modern treasure hunt that continues to inspire collectors around the world. Somewhere another overlooked example may still be waiting in a pocket, a coin jar, or an inherited collection, ready to surprise the person willing to take a closer look. If you enjoy uncovering forgotten history, hidden mint errors, and the real stories behind everyday coins, consider subscribing and joining us on the next adventure, because the greatest discovery might be sitting in your own collection right now.